a lot of people as heroes in our society. Lately in the last few years in COVID, we've talked about how first responders are heroes, or healthcare workers, or, emergency techs, doctors, all that. And it's all very true, law enforcement, firemen, military personnel. These are all people that, sacrifice their own personal well-being at times, for the rest of us. And they truly are heroes. But you know what? There's one category that pretty much never gets mentioned of heroes, and that's small business owners. My name is Robert Poole, and today I wanted to talk to you about the importance of small business owners in our society, and how we should really respect them and treat them as heroes, because they really are. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot of great content on here that we appreciate if you share it with your friends and colleagues. We're trying to get the word out to more and more business owners, because owning a business is tough. You know it just as I do. And, we need all the help we can get. So I really appreciate you subscribing to the channel and liking it and all that good YouTube stuff. So anyway, back to the subject I want to talk about, and this is not one of my normal how-to type of videos, but I just really feel very strongly about this topic. And so I wanted to start out and recognize the small business owners for what you do as a group of people in our society. I took down some stats or whatever, and you can find all kinds of stuff, stat wise, but it's hard to get the true stats on small businesses because a variety of reasons. But so these stats are not set in stone, just the ones I found. So if you think about it, the number of small business owners in the United States, they depending on how you define it or whatever. And when I say small businesses, I'm talking about generally what the SBA says, which is less than 500 employees. And most small businesses are less than 5 employees. But, business owners are a very small part of the population. Depending on how you define them, it's 2% up to 7, 8, 10% of the population. So that's, already, if you're a business owner, you're in a small group of people. And out of 33 million businesses in the U.S., the vast majority of those are small businesses. And I think, 98.2% is the stat I found, have less than 100 employees. And, 89% have less than 20 employees. So you get the picture here. Most small businesses are very small, and yet they represent a huge part of our economy. Small businesses are, responsible for 64% of all job creation. And, companies with less than 10 employees make up 75% of the employment workforce, and 44% of all the economic activity in the United States, and that, includes government and all the other stuff that gets thrown in there. Revenue-wise, some of these stats, there are 16 million businesses out of that 33 million that have a revenue standpoint of less than 40K a year. And there's 6 million under 100K. And, there are only 7 million businesses that will actually ever reach 100K ever in their lifetime as a business. And there's only 875,000 that will make it more than 1 million ever in their business. And only about 40% of small businesses ever make a profit. So if you get where I'm going with all this, small businesses, to be part of that and to be having any sort of success is an incredible achievement, in our society. And, we all get into this for a variety of reasons, but primarily it's, it's for freedom and it's for money. And, what's comical, that this is a very difficult thing to do, as we all know, owning a small business, again, depending on the stats you look at, 20% of small businesses fail in the first year, 50% by year 5, and 70% by year 10, So the odds are definitely stacked against you as a small business owner. But, it's something that, it really stands out in our society. So, why does all this matter? In my opinion, even if you haven't made a dime and you just started a business, you should be commended for that, because it's very difficult and there's so few people that actually do it. If you've ever made a penny in profit, you're even smaller percentage of that group, but just making an attempt at starting a business and running a business, should be lauded in our society. And unfortunately, it's not recognized enough. I mentioned at the beginning that we talk a lot about heroes these days. So I went in the dictionary and the old Webster and looked up, what's the definition of a hero? How do you define that? And they had the four definitions I thought was interesting. A mythological, legendary figure, often of defined or divine descent, with great strength of ability, like Zeus or whatever. An illustrious warrior, and a person admired for achievements and noble qualities, and one who shows great courage. So, I'm sure there's a few of us who think we're in the first couple categories, the mythological creature and the illustrious warrior, but most of us don't. But business owners fit in the last two categories: a person that should be admired for their achievements and their noble qualities, and someone who shows great courage. When it comes to owning a business, think about your day, and what you go through on a daily, or weekly, yearly basis. How many things do you do that are really uncomfortable? That, they could be, things that you just don't want to do, or they could be things that you're mildly nervous about. They could be things that are downright scary, maybe you have to publicly speak, in front of your employees, but, you're not a great public speaker, It's like public speaking is like, rated above, just about everything else when it comes to fears in life, even above death. But somehow we stretch ourselves, and we do it on a daily basis. And anybody who owns a business knows exactly what I'm talking about. That fear of, geez, how am I going to pay my people on Friday? Or, oh man, I got to call this client that's really angry. Or, how am I going to make any sales? How am I going to keep this company alive? All those stresses. And yet we do it day in and day out because we get paid to solve problems. And, sometimes those problems aren't fun to deal with, but it takes courage to do it. And the biggest thing is that it's not like a business owner is working for somebody else, or that somebody else is telling them what to do. Because if you're an employee, and this is not a dig on employees, but if you're an employee, somebody's telling you what to do and you go ahead and do it. But, even if you fail at it or whatever, hey, it's somebody else's real problem, not yours. Your paycheck's still going to get there, whereas a business owner, if we don't do what we're supposed to do, we don't get paid. Our whole life is based upon that. So the stakes are very high. And, we don't have somebody who's making sure that we show up to work on time, making sure we work the hours, making sure, that we do what we're supposed to do. We make those calls. That has to all be internal. And that, again, you have to break through all those fears and all that stuff, you think about, what's the reward of all that, we all probably got into this gig for, money and freedom. And, with the hours that most business owners work, statistically, you'd probably be better off working as an employee, as far as actual financial gains, because there's even a rare air of people who become business owners and make a boatload of money. Most business owners don't. And yet they still go through this daily, process, and most business owners also get in the business for freedom, set my own schedule, all that good stuff. And, let me ask you, how's that working for you? It just means working longer hours. So the question is, why do we do it? I think that it's one of those things that certain people are driven to achieve and to make an impact. And, it really, I think this whole concept first occurred to me back in, I guess it would have been over kind of Thanksgiving in 2020, right in the middle of COVID when everything was shut down. I took my family to Orlando and went to SeaWorld and stuff like that because everything was dirt cheap because nobody was traveling and all these restrictions and everything. And that was the time to travel. Now all the hotels are gouging you and making up for that time. But anyway, I took my family there and they had to stay at a little hotel and the kids were swimming, doing their thing. And I got young kids and of course they found some little friends to play with and all that. And then of course, the parents are sitting around watching the kids. So there was this other couple that had kids that were playing with our kids. So of course we started talking, and turns out that they They were from I think it was South Carolina, North Carolina, or something. And they owned, both of them worked together in a business that they owned it was a B2B like office supply consumables type of thing that they would do delivery, sort of like a Staples, but on a local and wholesale level for businesses in their area. And of course, it was started on a shoestring. The husband had worked for somebody else doing similar stuff, and they broke off doing his own thing. And just listening to what they were talking about, I really related to them. And I looked at that couple and listening to what they go through on a daily basis, the struggles, how they built their company, all that kind of stuff, and it just for some way really resonated with me. I remember very distinctly that I was sitting there and I was almost brought to tears because I was proud of these people. I didn't even know these people, but the fact that they were out there doing all this stuff, doing things that were scary, but doing things that were necessary to be in business and to enhance the lives of their customers and their family. It just made me proud of them as a group. And I thought, people like this don't get recognized. Nobody talks about people like these that are out there doing it, overcoming their fears, not, clearly not rich and, making gazillions of dollars. But these are people that should be recognized. And if you're a business owner, I just personally want to thank you, for how much you contribute to our society, what you go through on a daily basis, because most likely you don't get compensated enough for what you do. So one last thing that, as I said, I think business owners should be recognized. And unfortunately, the recognition that business owners typically get from, well, we'll just say it, Hollywood. When's the last movie you saw? The evil, it's either the evil corporation, it's the evil rich person, it's the evil business owner, boss, whatever, that's mean to the little person and, screws them over or whatever. They've done studies and showed that, over, it was like, in our first 15 years of, watching TV, and we witnessed like 10,000 something murders on different TV and movies and all that kind of stuff, which is bad enough in itself. But like 90 something percent of the people who are the murderers, the bad people, are business people. They're people who are wealthy, large evil corporations and, business owners, and then you look at our education system. Do you remember having any entrepreneurship classes, when you were in high school? I sure don't. I'm sure that there are places that have, that kind of stuff, but, our education system really is set up to teach people how to go get a job working for somebody else. And so business owners start off with, learning all this on our own. It's not like we're trained to do anything. And so again, that makes it even a bigger deal. And you're even more of a hero because of what you overcome to get where you are. So again, this is not, it was not my traditional kind of how-to video, but I really felt like this needed to be said, and that business owners like yourself, you need to be recognized for the hero that you are and how much you contribute to our society. And, you make all of our lives better every day by what you do. And I want to thank you for overcoming your fears. Thank you for overcoming any kind of uncomfortable things that you do on a daily basis, because you truly are a hero. So thanks for your time. And again, this is a particularly important video. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. But more importantly, share this with other small business owners that you know, because they need to know that they really are a hero, just like you if you're a business owner. And if you're not a business owner, this is the way you become a hero. So thanks for your time today, and I will talk to you on the next live.